Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Nse. In this tutorial, I am going to walk you through the process of setting up Python for web development. Python is a high-level programming language. This means that Python allows you to write code that closely looks like the natural language. Python is a very popular programming language in that it serves many purposes. You could use Python for web development. You could use Python for data analysis and visualization. You could use Python for machine learning. You could even build games using Python. On this channel, we are going to learn how to use Python for web development, and we will also see how to use Python for data analysis and visualization. Now, to write Python code, you have to install Python on your computer. Let's see how to do that. To install Python, let's go to python.org. This is the official Python website. I have provided this link in the description. Here on the website, come here to download, click on it, and you're going to see here, download the latest version for Windows. So typically, Windows users can click on this download button to download the latest version. For other operating systems, look here just below the download button. You're going to see these options: Linux, Unix, Mac, and other. Click here for Linux, click here for Mac, and click here for other operating systems. For me, it's Windows, so I will go ahead and click here. At the bottom left corner of your screen, you are going to see that we have the Python installation package downloaded. Come here, click on this icon here and click open, and you're going to see this Python setup here. And here you have two options: install now, which means that clicking on this option is going to let Python install itself, so to speak. Clicking on customize installation is going to let you control how the installation is done. You get to choose location and some other features. Come here and click add Python to path. I want Python to do its thing, so I'm just going to click install now and wait for it to install. If you want to control how the installation is done, you could use this option. I am going to click on this, and there is this pop-up here that says, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Of course, I want to let this app make changes to my device, so I'm going to say yes. This should take a few minutes. Now the installation is done. As we can see here, it says setup was successful. To confirm, pull up your command prompt if you're using Windows, or your terminal if you're using Mac OS. For Windows users, you could tap on the Windows button of your keyboard, and in the search bar, type command prompt, and we have it here. I'm going to just click on it. Here on the command prompt, type python -- version. Hit the enter key of your keyboard, and you should see the version of Python that you have installed. We installed the latest version, which is 3.11.3. So that's the exact same version I have. displayed here. Now, if you already had Python installed before now, you will likely have your previous Python version display here rather than this 3.11.3. You don't need to worry yourself about that. As we progress on this channel, you are going to see how to manage different Python versions on your computer. Now that we have Python installed, we need to install an application where we will write our Python code. So we are going to install an integrated development environment, also known as IDE. If you're wondering what an IDE is simply a software application where you can write and edit code. There are lots of IDEs like Visual Studio Code, PyCharm, Sublime, and so on. However, in this tutorial, our focus will be on Visual Studio Code. So let's head straight to installing Visual Studio Code, also known as VS Code. To install VS Code, come here to the VS Code official website, which is code.visualstudio.com. I have provided this link in the description, so you could just copy and paste on your browser, hit the enter key of your keyboard, and you should have this page open here. While here, you can click on this button to download for Windows, or click on this download button and you're going to have options for various operating systems. Click here for Windows, click here for Ubuntu, click here for Mac. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll have similar options, Windows and other operating systems. Click here for Windows, click here for Mac. You could click here for Ubuntu. Again, for me it's Windows, so I'm going to click here, download for Windows. This should take some minutes. When the download is done, you will see this file, VS Code user setup, on the bottom left corner of your screen. Come here, click on this icon and click open, and it's going to open the license agreement. Click I accept the agreement and click next. It's going to ask where you want Visual Studio Code to be installed on your computer. So you could browse here to select options, but I'd say it's okay to use the option provided here by default. So I'm going to leave it as is and I'll go ahead and click next. If you want to select a different location on your computer for Visual Studio Code, that's fine. You could go ahead, use the browse button and select the location where you want, or if you have the path typed out, you could just copy and paste it here and then click next. Here it's asking where setup should place the program's shortcuts. I am okay with the shortcuts being placed in the start menu folder. I'll go ahead and leave it the way it is and I'll click next. It brings us to this page where you get to select additional tasks. So if you would want an icon created on your desktop, check this button and you'd have a Visual Studio Code icon created on your desktop at the end of this installation. For this other options, I'd say leave it as is and click next. But just to tell you what each of these options represent, so if you check these first two options, you are going to have a context menu option added to your file explorer for files and folders. And this means that you could easily right click on a file or folder and you'd be presented with the option to open that file or folder in Visual Studio Code. For example, if you right click on a Python file in Windows Explorer, you can select the Open With option from the context menu, and this will let you open that file directly in VS Code without having to first open VS Code and then navigate to the file. If this is a lot, just don't worry your head about it. The screen is okay as is with this 1, 2, 3 buttons checked. Remember, if you do not want the icon on your desktop, you can uncheck this. Register code as an editor for supported file types. We'll make VS Code the default editor for certain file types on your system, meaning you can double click on a file of a supported type, in our case files with .py extension, that's Python files, and it will open VS Code by default. This can be convenient if you prefer to use VS Code as your primary editor for these file types. Alternatively, you may want to leave this option disabled and manually open your files on VS Code. But for now, I am going to leave it checked. VS Code is the only editor I have anyways. For this last option, I highly recommend that you leave it checked because it's going to allow you to run Python from your command line or terminal. And as we progress on this channel, we are going to have lots of instances where we would need to run Python from the command line or terminal. Now that that's done, go ahead and click next. And then it's going to bring you to ready to install. So at this point, all you have to do is click install and the installation will start. You will have this installation process start, and once it comes to where it finishes, that means that you have VS Code installed. So now we are just going to click finish. I have this button here that says launch Visual Studio Code. I'm going to uncheck this button because I do not want to just open the Visual Studio Code. I'll say finish first, and then I'm going to show how to create a project and open it using the Visual Studio Code. For that, I'd say go to your desktop, right click on any part of your desktop, click on new, click on folder to create a new folder. Give your folder any name at all that you want. I'm going to call mine new Python and hit the enter key of your keyboard. Now hit the Windows button of your keyboard and in the search bar type Visual Studio Code and then click on it, and then you have Visual Studio Code open. Now come to file and come to open folder, and our project folder is currently on the desktop. Click on desktop. Our project folder is new Python, this new Python. So click on it and then come here and click select folder. You can see now that we have our folder opened here right in VS Code. Now we are going to create a file inside this folder to write our code. Now to create a file, we have this icon here, this new file icon. Click on it and give your file a name. I'm just going to say first.py. .py because it's a Python file. Py is the Python extension. That is the only way that VS Code will know that this file is a Python file, and so treat it as a Python file. So after that, hit the enter key of your keyboard. And we have our cursor blinking here, meaning that we can type. So let's type our first code, say print, and I have some of this guide, so to speak, coming up as I type. Now that's because I have the Python extension installed. I am going to show you guys how to go about that. For now, we are done typing the code, and if you look on the left side of your screen, you're going to see this blue spot here. This is asking you to save your code. So you can either come to file and click save, or you combine Control and S keys of your keyboard. For Mac OS, it's Command plus S key of your keyboard, and you would have that blue spot go away. That means that our code is saved. For you to run your code, come here on the right side of the screen and click on this icon here that says run code. Alternatively, you could combine Control, Alt and N keys of your keyboard. This is in very tiny print, but if you look here at the bottom of my screen, you're going to see that we have hello world printed, and that's exactly what this means. Print hello world. So we have hello world printed here for us. So this shows that our code is working and everything is fine. Now, before I conclude this video, like I promised, I am going to talk about the Python extension. The Python extension is simply a tool that makes writing Python faster and easier. To install this Python extension, click on File, come to Preferences, and right here you're going to see Extensions. Click on it. You would have a list of extensions displayed here for you. Alternatively, you could come here and click on this extensions icon. This here is the extensions icon, and it's going to display the same list of extensions. Now the extension we are looking for is called Python, so type Python. This here is the extension that we are looking for, Python, so click on it. Now because I have it installed already, it shows uninstall here. For you, if you do not have it installed, it is going to show install. Let's see how that works. I'm going to quickly uninstall mine by clicking on this uninstall, of course, and now I no longer have now I have uninstall, meaning that I have to install, meaning that I should install the extension. But before I click on install again, let's go back to our file here, which is first.py. Let's delete this code and let's try to type it again. You can see that currently I do not have that guide, unlike when I had the Python extension installed. So now I am going to come back to extensions by clicking on this extension file here, and I'm going to come here and just click on install. So now we have our Python extension installed, and we know this because we now have uninstall here. This is the only extension that I'm going to install for now. As we progress on this channel, if we need to install more extensions, then we will do that together. You can close the extension file by clicking on the close button here, and you can click on this file explorer icon. This is the file explorer icon, and we'll come back to the file explorer. This here is the search icon. It lets you conduct search within the Visual Studio Code. This is for source control. We are going to talk about source control as we progress. This is for debugging. This is for extensions like we've already seen, and this is for testing. So as we progress, we're going to see how all of these icons can be put to use. Okay, so just before I wrap up, now that we have the Python extension installed, let's type that line of code again. Notice that we have this guide come back. That's because of the Python extension that we just installed. This is all that we are going to take in this video. In the next video, we are going to add more features to our VS Code to enable it for data analysis and visualization. For now, if you want to read more about Visual Studio Code and Python, come here to the Visual Studio Code website for Python. I have also provided this link where you can read about getting started with Python in VS Code, how to install VS Code and the Python extension, and many other things. For those using Windows, this is where to come to. For Mac OS, you have Mac right here. For Linux, you have Linux right here, and then you have other options. You can read as much as you want here. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Do leave the questions in the comment section, and I'll be there to provide answers as much as needed. Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the Learn In channel for more tutorials of this sort. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.